Can the police lie to you? Yes, they can. My name is Andrew Flushy. I'm your Virginia DUI attorney. This question comes up when talking with people about their DUI arrest and how things proceeded on the side of the road. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that all police are liars or anything of that nature. What I am saying is they have a job to do and that you need to know your rights. If you're pulled over for a DUI and the officer asks you to step out to see if you're good enough to drive home, that's one of the ways they phrase it is, let me have you do some tests to make sure you're good to drive home. The reason the officer's having you do some tests usually is because they suspect that you may not be good enough to drive home. So while it's partially true that if you do well on the tests, you're going to be free to go. However, it's also true that if you don't do well on the tests, you are not going to be driving home. You're going to be getting a ride in handcuffs in the back of the police car. So that's just one good example of what is kind of a half-truth, that the tests are basically determining whether or not you're going to be driving home or whether or not you're going to be getting a ride to the jail with the police officer. So that's one example of how you need to be aware of what the police are telling you and what your rights are. And remember that on the side of the road, you do not have to consent to any tests on the side of the road that are offered to do right there. So that includes the physical tests you do not have to perform, you do not have to count, you don't have to say your ABCs, and you do not have to blow into the handheld breath test. Now, if you're arrested for DUI and the officer then says we're going to take you to the station to do a breath test or we're going to take you to the hospital to do a blood test, those tests you do need to consent to. But remember that on the side of the road, the officer's job is to investigate whether or not he might arrest you. And so he doesn't have to be truthful about what he's really doing, and he doesn't have to be truthful about what he's going to do depending on how you do on the tests. The tests are designed to indicate whether or not you're impaired, so beware, and it makes sense to refuse those tests on the side of the road.